Outlander Season 7, Part 2, is on the way, picking up after several big twists and turns in Part 1. Jamie, Claire, and the rest of their family have certainly gone through a lot since the series began, with hardly any time to breathe between each subsequent disaster. Still, as Outlander begins to head toward its 8th and final season, these characters are doing their best to establish a happy life for themselves in both the 18th and 20th centuries. Something always manages to get in the way, however, and the disasters of Outlander Season 7, Part 1 will undoubtedly result in more twists and turns in Part 2. The events of Outlander Season 7 are based on Diana Gabaldon's 7th and 8th Outlander books, An Echo in the Bone and Written in My Own Heart's Blood. Split into 2 parts, the first debuted back in June 2023, detailing the events following Claire Fraser's arrest for the murder of Malva Christie. Now, going into Outlander Season 7, Part 2, Claire and Jamie are doomed to be separated again after a brief period of joy being reunited with their Scotland family. Of course, there's sure to be a whole lot more to happen, which makes a refresh of the big events of Outlander Season 7, Part 1, all the more necessary. Tom Christie took the blame for Malva's murder, saving Claire. Christie managed to survive as well. Outlander Season 7, Part 1, picked up with Claire imprisoned for Malva's murder, with Jamie desperately trying to get her back. He was ultimately unable to do so, and with the Revolutionary War in its early stages, it was unlikely that Claire would get a chance to defend herself in court for many months, if not years. However, Tom Christie came to Claire's rescue when he confessed to murdering his own daughter. This confession was, of course, false. Tom is in love with Claire and wants to give his life to free her. Upon returning to Fraser's Ridge, Claire learned that it had actually been Tom's son, Alan, who murdered Malva. Ian killed Alan, and Claire believed for a time that the whole family had tragically been lost. However, she later learned that Tom had not been hanged after all. While Claire and Jamie put all this behind them, it's certainly possible that Tom Christie will make a return appearance in Outlander Season 7, Part 2. Brianna and Roger went back to the 20th century to save their daughter. Little Amanda could only be saved in the future. Brianna and Roger welcomed a beautiful baby girl, Amanda, in Outlander Season 7, Part 1. However, Claire quickly noticed physical signs on the baby that she was suffering from a heart defect common in newborn babies. Unfortunately, there was no way to save Amanda in the 18th century. If she were to live, Brianna and Roger would have to return to the 20th century, where doctors were equipped for such a procedure. After returning to their own time, Brianna and Roger stayed in Scotland, where they bought Jamie's childhood home, Lallybroch. Several years passed for this family in Outlander Season 7, Part 1, and by the start of Part 2, Amanda is happy and healthy living in the castle of her ancestors. 8. Claire and Jamie's home was burned down by Wendigo Donna. The obituary finally came true, kind of. Brianna and Roger had traveled back to the 18th century to save Jamie and Claire after finding an old obituary stating that the Frasers died in a house fire. The date of this incident came and went, so they assumed that they had achieved their goal before later returning to the 20th century. However, it turned out the obituary had the wrong date, since Wendigo Donna's arrival at Fraser's Ridge in Outlander Season 7, Part 1, saw the devastating fire finally become a reality.